Welcome, scholars. Today, we're not just digging through dusty old texts. Oh no, we're deciphering a map for our own time, really. It's written in this ancient language of myth and allegory, and you know what? It might just explain a feeling that I bet is familiar to a lot of us.
Have you ever felt that? That strange, nagging hollowness, even when everything on the surface, I mean, everything looks perfect? It's that quiet feeling that, for all our incredible progress and comfort, we've somehow lost our compass. That feeling right there is exactly what we're going to unpack today. And to really get to the bottom of this, we're going to dive into two powerful, parallel stories from our sources. The first is about one man, a performer who's literally trapped by his own perfection. And the second, it's about a whole community, a village that built a flawless world, only to discover it was completely empty. Now, both of these stories start in the same place. We can call it a gilded cage. You know what I mean? It looks beautiful, shiny, and perfect from the outside. A life of safety, a world of order. But inside, there's this deep, spiritual hunger gnawing away.
So first, let's meet our performer. This guy lives his whole life behind these incredible golden masks. They represent what the ancient Greeks would call Apollonian order. Perfect structure, clarity, shining success. But here's the secret. All that perfection, it's just a defense. It's a shield to keep him from looking at the chaos, the shame, and the suffering churning right below his feet.
And at the same time, in our second story, we have this village full of master builders. I mean, these people have achieved total material perfection. Their buildings are glorious, their lives are comfortable, easy. But in their drive for efficiency, they did something. They tore down their old, crumbling temple, the one place that held all their stories, all their meaning. So now, they're safe, they're comfortable, but they're starving for a purpose.
You see, the performer's mask and the village's walls, they might look different, but they're doing the exact same job. One is hiding a private, personal abyss of shame, while the other hides a collective void of meaning. The performer's frantic, dazzling dance is just another version of the village's comfortable, aimless existence. They're both shields. One's a fragile mask for one man, the other is a strong fortress for a people with no soul. But here's the thing about these kinds of perfect worlds, right? They can't last. It's impossible. Sooner or later, the music has to stop. And when it does, the whole illusion just shatters.
For our performer, the end is sudden. Bam! The applause fades, the lights go out, the audience is gone. His whole dance of distraction is over. And for the very first time, he's left totally alone in the silence, with nothing but himself.
For the village, it's a slower, quieter collapse. This strange sense of aimlessness, this malaise, just creeps in. Without the old stories from the temple to guide them, they just drift. Their technology is so good they could go anywhere they want, but they have absolutely no idea where they should go. The compass is just gone. And in that silence, for our performer, the inevitable happens. The pressure builds and builds, and that beautiful, perfect shield cracks right down the middle, unable to hide the truth any longer. So, what about the village? They panic. They scramble for an external fix, treating their old, deep meaning for new, loud, shallow idols. They start chanting political slogans, waving banners, hoping that if they just sacrifice their own personalities, they'll find belonging in the crowd. But it doesn't work. It just creates more conflict and tears their perfect world apart. In this moment of crisis, this is where the real choice comes in. Not just for our characters, but for every single one of us. When the mask cracks and the world falls apart, do you run, or do you turn around and face what's been hiding in the darkness? This, right here, is the hero's choice. You know, the great psychologist Carl Jung had a name for this thing we're always running from. He called it the shadow. In our story, it's called the ugliest man. It's the personification of everything we try to deny about ourselves, all our shame, our pain, our fears. It's that unlit, hidden part of our very own soul. And this is the pivot, the absolute turning point. The performer, standing at the edge of his own personal abyss, made a choice. He chose to stand still. And in the village, a few people, the architects, they got sick of the empty slogans. They walked out into the wilderness to face their own inner dragon. Both of them, in their own way, made the same heroic choice, to stop running. So what happens when you actually face the shadow? Well, the ancient alchemists had a name for it. They called it a mystical marriage. It's this incredible process where you take the lead, the heavy, worthless lead of your own suffering, and you transform it into gold. You literally learn how to turn poison into power. This alchemical dance, it happens in 4 steps. First, you have to face the abyss. You just acknowledge the chaos inside. Second, you invite the shadow in. You stop fighting that ugliest man and you start to listen to him. Third, you unite the opposites. You actually merge your perfect golden mask with those dark, chaotic depths. And finally, you find your anchor. You transform the weight of your pain into the very friction that allows you to move with grace. And from this process, from all that mud and chaos, something beautiful and totally unexpected begins to grow. Wild lilies. This image, it represents the profound beauty that can only come from accepting all of life, the good, the bad, the mud, and the light. This whole journey leads to a state of being that the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche called amor fati, the love of one's fate. And that's really the ultimate prize here. It's the ability to look at your entire life, the triumphs, and yes, even the tragedies, and to say with your whole heart, yes, I wouldn't change a thing. And just look at the difference in how things turned out. The architects, the ones who face their inner dragons, they gained this hard-won, unshakable inner certainty. They became the masters of their own story, with a strength that came from deep within. And the villagers who clung to the external slogans, all they found was conflict. They sacrificed their individuality and were left fragile, totally dependent on the whims of the crowd. So what does this all mean for us, right here, right now? Well, it suggests that we are living in what you could call an age of the hero. The old collective stories that used to guide us have faded. And that leaves us with both a huge burden and a glorious opportunity to author our own. Just look at our performer's final transformation. He doesn't just put his mask back on and start dancing again. No way. He becomes a philosopher of play. He's no longer hiding from his pain. He's dancing with it on the very ruins of the fragile beliefs that once held him prisoner. He's stronger, he's wiser, and he is finally, truly free. You could almost boil down the lesson from these stories into a kind of hero's creed. Your pain isn't a burden to be hidden. It's an anchor that gives you grace. True resilience isn't about avoiding suffering. It's about turning poison into fuel. The abyss you're so afraid of is actually the foundation for your most authentic dance. And when the old myths die, you have no choice but to find the courage to author your own. In the end, it's that simple and that hard. The real treasure isn't out there in some new ideology or some perfect system. It's found in the courageous, personal, individual act of writing your own story. So, here we are. The old temple is gone. The old masks we used to wear, they're cracked. The real question isn't about what's been lost. The only question that matters now is, what will you build in their place?